it's Miss Tulip. For today's activity, we're going to be making paper lanterns. So in your bag, you're going to find some white pieces of paper that are going to be our template for our lantern. So there's going to be one piece that's a little bit smaller and there should be a star in the corner. And this is if you don't want to use your flameless candle. You can use this as a template to make the inside piece of paper that will go inside your lantern. There's also going to be a dragon template, a template with some cherry blossoms on it, and then a blank one as well if you want to create your own design. You're also going to have some different decorating materials inside. So we have construction paper, some gems, some glitter glue, and then there will be the flameless candle if you want to put that inside your lantern. I've also gone ahead and grabbed some markers to color with, some scissors, and then some tape and glue to have my lantern stick together. So our first step is going to be choosing what you want the outside of your paper lantern to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the cherry blossom one. There's also a dragon, or you can use the blank template to design it however you'd like. So I'm gonna use some markers and color my cherry blossoms. Paper lanterns root back to over 2,000 years ago, and the Lantern Festival happens on the 15th day of the first month in the lunar solar Chinese calendar. And it celebrates the final day of the traditional Chinese New Year celebrations. So the children carry lanterns and they solve riddles that are on the lanterns. And the lanterns can come in all different shapes and sizes. So they'll have some super cool and intricate patterns on them, or they'll have them in multiple different shapes as well. They can be in shapes of animals and all different sorts of things. So they have a lot of variety of lanterns. And the lanterns symbolize good fortune. So the legend has it that Taiyi, the god of heaven in ancient times, is the one who controlled the destiny of the human world. And they were afraid that he would inflict drought or storms or famine upon them. So the emperors ordered all of these splendid ceremonies and would ask Taiyi to bring favorable weather and good health to them and their people. So the lanterns are a sign to Taiyi so that they can receive good fortune and health. So now that I have finished coloring my lantern, the next step is going to be to cut it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our sheet and fold it in half hot dog ways. So we're gonna fold it here. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut along the lines that were on the template. So I kind of drew over my lines because I wanted the purple on some of it, but not all of it. So I'm gonna have to look really closely to see the line, and what you're gonna do is you're going to cut from the folded edge, and you're going to cut up until the line stops. So I have drawn an edge that will be kind of the top and bottom of my lantern. So I'm gonna stop cutting there because we don't wanna cut all the way through. And if you can see your lines after you decorated, then you'll be able to see exactly where they stop. So you're gonna cut all of those until you get just to where the line stops. Once you have all of your lines cut, you can go ahead and unfold it, and you should be able to see what will pop out and be your lantern. So the next step is we're going to roll it into our lantern shape, And you should notice that there's a couple pieces on the end here that didn't really have any sort of design. So we're gonna glue or tape our lantern on that piece. So you'll want to take your lantern and roll it into a tube-like shape. And then I'm going to line up my blank piece here underneath, and then that'll be where you connect your lantern. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and use some tape. If you have glue, you can use that. Just make sure that you give it some time to dry so it doesn't fall apart, or if you use paper clips or something to hold it together to make sure that it's nice and secure before we move on to the next step. So I put some tape on the top and bottom of my lantern, and then I put a couple pieces here so that the back piece wasn't loose. And now you can see that it has our lantern shape. So the next step, since we have our flameless candle, is going to be to trace a piece of paper to go on the bottom and be able to hold your candle. So I'm going to use white, since that's one of the colors of my lantern here, and place it on my paper. Decide which end you want the bottom to be, and then we're going to use a marker or a pen or a pencil to trace a circle along the bottom. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be cutting it out, so my circle is looking a little wonky shaped, but I'm just going to kind of finish it off, and then I will trim up the edges once I cut it out. So now that I have my circle cut out, I'm going to flip my lantern over to be able to tape it to the bottom here. You might see that it is a little bit off on some edges, so you can trim it as necessary. I think mine looks good enough, so I'm going to add a couple pieces of tape around the edge and then just tape it to the bottom. So I went ahead and taped it to the bottom. It is a little bit off, but since it's on the bottom, you can't tell a whole lot, so I'm gonna call it good. Our last step for our lantern is going to be to add a handle. So you can use some of the extra construction paper that you have, which is what I'm going to do, or if you have ribbon or string, you can use that as well. I'm going to put a couple pieces of tape on the ends of my strip of paper, and then I'm going to tape it on the inside of my lantern, and there's my handle. So the last step is going to be our flameless candle. For your flameless candle, there should be a little plastic tab here, and that's to make sure that the battery doesn't run out. So you want to make sure to pull that out before you turn it on. And then when you flip the little switch on the bottom, your light should turn on. So I'm going to go ahead and place it inside my lantern, and it is good to go. So I've gone ahead and colored and cut out the dragon template as well to show you the other way to do the lanterns. You have quite a few different templates, and you can make it out of just a regular piece of paper as well, so you can make as many lanterns as you'd like. So if you've already used your flameless candle, this is how you can make a lantern with an inside flame. So we're going to tape it just like we did the other one. Once you have it taped, you're going to need a piece of construction paper and the thin template that you were given that has the star in the corner. So we're going to make a paper flame. That's why I chose yellow for my color. And what you're going to want to do is use this template and cut the paper to this size. And the reason we need to cut the paper to be shorter is when our lantern is folded and has little edges, it makes it smaller. So if we used a regular size sheet of paper, it wouldn't fit in there properly. Once you have your sheet of paper cut, I'm going to make a little mark just so that I know where it needs to be connected and what size it needs to be. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold this into a tube and tape it just like we taped our lantern. I'm gonna line it up to my marking. So I put a couple pieces of tape on the end here, and then I put a piece in the middle as well so that it didn't puff out. And then you're going to want to take your lantern and slide it over the top. And this part can be a little tricky to get all the edges together, so you might need to ask for some help. I'm going to slide it in here, and then I'm going to put a couple pieces of tape, taping my flame paper to my lantern paper so that it stays put, because we're not putting a bottom in this one, so it might fall off if you don't secure it. So I went ahead and added a handle to this one, just like my other one. And now you can see that the paper inside is our flame, and you can do whatever color you want in there. So if you want to do a cool design and have a fun color in the background, then you can decorate it however you would like. So there we have our paper lanterns. I can't wait to see all the cool designs you guys come up with. You can go ahead and hang it up somewhere, or you can just set it on a table. Tomorrow we'll be back making Mancala boards with a surprise guest. Until then, I'll see you later.